All right, welcome everybody to our latest Live Motocross podcast as we talk all things Millville, Spring Creek from Pro Motocross with the great man Jeff Beaver from Whiskey Throttle Media. Obviously, firstly, thank you to everyone for listening and supporting the website and these podcasts. It's certainly greatly appreciated. We'd also like to thank our sponsors in Fly Racing, Firepower, Dirt Store, and Fuchs Silkaleen for all their incredible support. As without them, none's be possible. So go check them out online and on socials. Obviously, welcome again, Jeff. How's life? And thanks for joining us, mate. What a Spring Creek that was. Absolutely fairy tale stuff with Jeremy Martin, wasn't it?
Oh, dude, Spring Creek was sick, dude. That facility, I I always kind of was like, I don't know if I want to go to Minnesota, all the way out to a race. Boy, I had that wrong. That place is beautiful. The drive out there is beautiful. Oh man, it was sick. And the Martins, what they've done with that facility in Mountain Martin, that thing's insane. That is pure insanity. And the sand whoops, badass, dude. I love that facility. The way you get around to it to be able to shoot it was pretty badass. There was just nothing I did not like about Spring Creek. Even the weather wasn't after that bad. After spending a week in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Spring Creek felt cold, so it was awesome. It was a good time. I'm glad I went.
Yeah, mate. And how were those uphill shooting? Did you pass some of that over to Ethan? And just how was the fan attendance? It looked awesome. Looked like they were really sort of up for the event. The atmosphere was great. Obviously, having J-Mart crush it was pretty awesome. But how was that kind of side of things for you, mate, from the filming perspective and media?
No, the place was packed, super, super packed. And that Mount Martin, I climbed up to the first step and I'm like, yeah, that's enough, dude. I've got a 400 millimeter lens, dude. I can see the top clear as day. So that thing is steep. TV does not do it justice. The How fast those guys were coming down that downhill with all those square edge bumps, and it was just gnarly. The fact that nobody went over that berm, that outside berm, and just yard sailed is a miracle.
Yeah, you see Joe going down there without a rear brake, mate. That was absolutely wild, wasn't it? Respect to him. He managed to adapt to that so well, didn't he?
Yeah, somebody asked him in the pro straights press conference about doing the no brake, no clutch drills, and how big of a difference that makes. And I imagine that definitely paid off. But how do you replicate going down Mount Martin with no brakes? So I guarantee there was some pucker factor there for Joe. I mean, that was insane, training or not.
Oh, mate, absolutely. And that 250 class racing was absolutely unreal. Just tell us a bit about J-Mart as well. Obviously, heading in, he had that cool thing where he was selling some t-shirts to celebrate the last race. Obviously, Tomac had one on. I guess he probably didn't even expect anything quite that amazing. Such an amazing performance, mate. Fairy tale ending. I guess, you hear like the commentators and JT saying they just wanted to be a fan watching it, mate. So legendary ending for a true legend. He'll probably do a few Canadian races and a bit here and there, but, qualified third, two remarkable hole shots. The fans were cheering him on all the way. Obviously, literally his backyard. That is not just a home race, but his backyard race. So the stars aligned, mate. How are the podium scenes? Pretty emotional and incredible send off right there. And you got to experience it live in person, mate. So it must have been pretty special.
Yeah, it was unreal. I mean, I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card. I kind of the consensus I got is everybody's like, man, if he gets a top 10, we'll be stoked. Just as long as he makes it out of here in one piece. I was like, man, just don't crash, don't get hurt at your last race. He crashed right in front of me at Hangtown, and that was brutal. And he was bleeding, his mouth was bloodied, and I'm like, dude, this is not working out the way it should, brother. This sucks. I didn't want to see that, and to see him do what he did and get that hole shot. If he, it was like, oh shit, he got a hole shot. Cool, that's gonna be awesome. So he knocked out the hole shot, and then he just kept going. I'm like, dude, this guy's gonna, is he gonna win the race? And then Hayden did his thing, but he still maintained and held on for the podium. Should probably send Hammaker a little thank you card for eating shit twice. But it was like, holy crap, dude, he podiumed a moto. I'm like, well, hey, that's pretty storybook right there. And then me and Ethan switch off when we do the races. I'll take one side of the track, he takes the other. So the first moto, I was up in the tower down at the end of the start filming, and then I did the 450 Moto 1 and 250 Moto 1 from the Mount Martin side of the track, and Ethan did the roller side of the track and the Catapult side. So we swapped it for the second motos. So we are going out. I'm like, oh, dude, we need to get out. We heard the sight lap going, and we had to run from the tent. So Ethan had a short run to the start line. Well, my fat ass had to make it through all the people, which was packed all the way back to the sand rollers. And I'm running, and I hear the gate drop, and I'm like, oh shit. So I hit record on my camera, and I'm running, dude. And I'm not the fastest runner as you can imagine, but when I'm trucking and people get out of my way, dude, I'm like, move, 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 And I caught Martin as he came over that tabletop right before you go into the sand rollers, caught a sick shot of him, and then got out there and got all my stuff. And I'm like, dude, that guy just got the whole shot again. And he never backed off. I was like, dude, this is insane. And so I started working my way back because I always get to the podium to film the behind the scenes stuff, and just watching him come over that finish line and win the last moto of his career and make the overall podium at his home track. I mean, I was like, it kind of hit you right then and there, like, dude, this is something special. This is badass, dude. We just filmed something rad, and so I mean, I didn't even leave the track until I put out that edit on Whiskey Throttle. I just had to make something for him, and then I dropped something on Pro Taper today too that was pretty sick, and it was just awesome to be a part of. You couldn't have written a better script.
Oh yeah, well said, mate. The riding was just absolutely supreme too. Obviously, he knows that track, but once again, these tracks form up differently on race days too. Even though he spun more laps than anyone on there, it got pretty brutal that track. There was some tough sections. It was pretty hard because they were expecting rain too. So handled it all so well, and to fight off Degen, who obviously is battling his own injuries, but to do that on any day is pretty impressive. Obviously, Shimoda had his issues as well, but it was great racing that 250 class, especially for those top sort of three positions. And then Harrop just further back as well, getting a third in a moto. Impressive, mate. So, any other takeaways from Degen and yeah, Shimoda? Anyone else? J-Mart as well.
I kind of figured Deegan would do his thing and crush it, and he did. And Shimoda, I was glad that he backed it up and didn't falter. Right, he's becoming Mr. Consistent, and as long as he stays healthy, I think next year he's going to be a real pain in the ass outdoors. I don't think there's anybody else in that class who can hold a candle to him in the outdoors, except for when Deegan's gone, right? I think he's kind of the cream of the crop. I think Harrop was the big surprise for me, and then you got to give Forkner some love, getting a
Yeah.
top 10. Everybody's written Forkner off, and he's over there going, "Yeah, I wouldn't be too quick to do that." So that was pretty bitching.
Yeah, he's had a rough time with injuries, adversity, everything, and just getting bad starts. But the riding's actually been pretty solid, Faulkner. So it was good of you to bring him up too. That whole Triumph crew are really putting some good performances together. Obviously, Swole, not as good as the weekend before, but he's riding well. Harrop's building that consistency, getting used to the American racing, the schedule of just, 1 day formats and stuff. So it's all coming together pretty well for that Triumph. The bike's looking good, mate. So it's all positive on that end, isn't it? And another great podium on the cards, I'm sure. There'll be plenty more throughout outdoors, you'd imagine, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, and you could tell they're having a good time. Like when he walked back behind the podium after the motos, dude, he was like high fiving people. I've never even met the guy or talked to him, and he high fived me. I'm like, hey, what up, dude? Good job, So, uh, probably go find him at Washougal this weekend and have a conversation with him. I think it's time. Probably, it's just there's so much to focus on and not enough time. So, having two filmers there definitely helps. When you're by yourself, it's like you have no time to shoot the shit with anybody. But I'll have a second filmer at Washougal and I'll have Ping there. So definitely probably sick Pingree on him to go talk to him and get his thoughts on racing in America. It's going to be a big weekend up there.
Oh, it's going to be awesome, mate. Yeah, he's a really good lad. I remember doing a podcast with him a couple of years ago in the MX2 days when he was shredding. But yeah, super good kid, full of insight, great answers. So yeah, mate, find him and get some quality content out of him. And I also meant to ask you, how good was it seeing Deegan? Obviously, he had a pretty awesome day himself, but it was really cool to see him drop the bike and give J-Mart a hug. Obviously, massive respect for what he's done in the sport. But Deegs deserves credit too. Obviously, we dropped that clip last week. You were saying ride of the weekend. Obviously, it always gets the fans the conversation going. But yeah, his bruising and that injury he had was still no joke, and he gritted through, didn't he, mate? So he deserves credit for that. Obviously, the TikTok, I don't have that, but I'm hearing it's quite wild at the moment from Degen there. But just your take on all things Degen, starting with congratulations for J, mate. Good to see that respect.
Yeah, I thought that was class act of the kid, and dude, like I've said, he's a good kid, dude. You know, and I catch a lot of shit because I'm on Team Degen here. I like the kid; he's a badass, dude. And we put out that clip last week and caught a lot of shit for it, on my take on it. But yeah, it's easy to say Shimoda had the ride of the weekend because of his result, and he did have a great ride, but if Deegan wouldn't have crashed and been his bars, it's pretty likely how it would have come out, right? And so that's why my take was that most people would have quit and he didn't. And so I caught a bunch of shit, but I don't care. Say what you want to say. I'll fire back. I don't give two shits. Whatever, dude. But as far as the TikTok shit, I think it's funny because people get so butthurt over that shit, and it's like, dude, you're a dumbass. He's just goading you. He's just egging you on, dude. You know what it is? He's a 19-year-old Gen Xer.
Hmm.
He finds something that he knows drives you nuts, and he's just gonna push that button and needle you, just like anybody who's 40 to 50 years old, right? 60 years old, whatever Gen X is, that's how we grew up. If oh, it bothers you, here, let me do it some more, you pussy, and so I just sit back and laugh at people getting butthurt on them. I'm like, dude, you're getting trolled so hard. That kid's the master at that shit. And I just think it's hilarious and it makes me like him even more. So I'm like, whatever, dude. You're never gonna everybody in society is so polarized now, thanks to politics. You got Trump derangement syndrome in America, and you've got Deegan derangement syndrome. You say something nice about Deegan, and people start attacking your character. And it's like, whoa, dude, you don't know me. Eat shit, Shut up, So it's comical. So I appreciate him needling people and messing with people and picking on people because that's what this world needs, dude. We've got way too soft, and everybody's just gets butthurt over stupid shit and need to get messed with.
Yeah, as we say, mate, a lot of it seems like it's just having a joke, and you can't be too precious, as we say, mate, because he's just really having a joke and being a kid. And I guess, yeah, it's just that generation, isn't it, mate? Pretty foreign to lads like us. But yeah, long may it continue. I guess it brings more coverage to the sport. He was on Sports Center not long ago, so it can really only lead to mainly positive things. He might have to reel it in a little bit when he goes 450, but that time will come. And like you said, he's only 19, isn't he?
Now, when he goes 450, I want him to ramp it up. I want him to talk more shit. I want him to go ape shit. I want him to piss off everybody, dude. Just just go in there and raise hell, dude. Screw it, you know.
Let him have it, eh? And as we go
Yeah,
down,
I hope he clobbers Roxon first. Hey, you're not gonna take any shit. Watch this. Wow. Yeah.
yeah, I think he
Go ahead.
obviously Roxon had a few comments on him on the AC and JB show there, mate. So he could be in for a bit of action there from Deegan, mate. He doesn't fear anyone, does he? He'll be going hard from his first 450 debut. I don't reckon he'll be taking any prisoners. A bit like Bam Bam, isn't
Yeah, I think he'd walk up and punch the biggest dude in the mouth. Probably what he's
it?
gonna do.
Yeah, he certainly backs himself, mate. And as we go down the list, obviously Marchbanks 7-7 for fifth overall, Kitchen 13-6 for sixth. That's a bit of a bizarre one, isn't it? And obviously massive props to Dylan Schwartz going 11-9 for seventh, mate. He obviously just put out a sweet edit that we just shared as well, mate. Really cool footage. Good to give coverage to those blokes. And he's a real ripper outdoors, isn't he, mate? If he didn't have all those injuries, you'd imagine he'd be podium level speed, wouldn't you? Because he just needs to build that base and stay fit. He's a machine on a dirt bike, isn't he?
Yeah, especially outdoors. Kitchen, I don't know what's going on with that guy, dude. He just he does. I think he's probably better at Supercross, I think, but outdoors he'll fire off, and then I don't know if he just smokes himself out and can't recover for the next weekend or what his deal is. But I mean, the guy can ride a dirt bike, but I don't know. But uh,
Home race at
watching,
Washougal this weekend for him.
yeah, but he does shitty at Washougal. He's never done good at Washougal. I think at one point he said if I'm not mistaken, he like dreads kind of that place because he never does good there. So watch him go out and win it this weekend. But yeah, I mean Schwartz, I like that kid. He's quiet and he just goes out there and rips, dude. And his style on a bike, I don't know. I don't know who he reminds me of. Kind of like just an old Billy Badass riding style, dude. He just just hammers the bike, dude. I'd hate to be his mechanic, dude, because that thing's probably so clapped out after two motos outdoors, dude. His bike probably just barely hanging on by a thread. He just rides so aggressive, dude. I just like that kid's style, and I like who he is. And yeah, I'll make edits of that guy every time I can get a chance, you know. And when he's running top 10, it's really easy to take the time to go and do it. You know what I mean? And yeah, it it was sick to see what he was doing. And Parker Ross, I don't think he was digging that place very much, and he had a couple crashes, but he still had a pretty good result, dude. That
Yeah,
Bar X
10th in the
team's
moto is good.
stepping up. Yeah, the Bar X team's stepping up. The move to the Yamaha, I think, was good for him. They just it's kind of like when a rider changes teams. The team changing bikes. It just was a fresh start for them, and their results have been pretty dang good.
Yeah, and obviously Cole Timbo as well, getting 16th in that second moto. Few words on him, mate. He's making some pretty good progress as the season rolls on, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a cool kid. His dad's cool as hell. Dad's a firefighter down in LA, so him and Ping are kind of buddies. They got a lot in common. But his dad's there and helping him out and just keeping him humble. But yeah, he's a real low key kid, fast as hell on a dirt bike. And in fact, I think that's the next edit I'm going to make is a Tembo edit. We got a lot of good footage of him this week.
Yeah, nice, mate. Bloody good racing, that's for sure. That 250 class was all over the shop. The results are just pretty wild, apart from the top dudes. They definitely sort of sums it up. Inconsistency, wild racing. They just pin it. A lot of crashes, a lot of incidents. I just, they're still building that maturity, mate. You see it week in, week out, don't you, mate? It's always pretty box office, apart from usually Degen getting the job done. But yeah, even he's had his issues lately. So you can never really go wrong for entertainment, can you?
250 is the Wild West. Dude, I've been a big fan of the 250 class, since I came back around and started getting back in. The 250 class has just been more entertaining to me than the 450 class. The 450 guys are a lot more serious, and they don't seem to take the risks that the 250 guys do. And I mean, it's badass what Jet's doing and all those guys do, and like Tomac and um, Chase a couple years ago outdoors was sick, but 9 times out of 10, the wildest racing's in the 250 class. If RJ Hampshire is on a 250, it's going to be a good time. So that was pretty sick. And dude, yeah, we'll get to RJ when we get to the 450s. But I like the 250 class more. That's more my cup of tea.
Yeah, well said, mate. Before we get on to the 450 class, obviously you see Plessinger looks like he's going to be definitely out this weekend with the virus. There's a lot of guys having those sort of related issues, just getting really run down. Obviously, the schedule's brutal, the traveling, the training, it's all in, you open yourself up to sicknesses and immune system deficiencies with the extreme schedules they have and the training they put themselves under. So, is there too many races, mate? Is it time to revisit that conversation? Would love your thoughts on it if you have any particular things, but it's not good to see the stars of the sport, a lot of them going down with these sort of autoimmune issues. So, it's your thoughts on that, or is it just some of these guys like AP and, even Sexton, they've just been racing so much in the last few years, it eventually catches up with them? Interesting one to take on, isn't it?
Well, from a business standpoint, it's going to be pretty hard
Mm.
for MX Sports. You've only got 11 rounds now instead of 12, and those races are held out in the country. They have to be run on a Saturday, right? So you really can't afford to clip another national. And Feld has these stadiums all rented out, and it's a big business, and they're there to make money and put on a show and hold the races, and like it or not, that's what we have, right? And so, from a business standpoint, if I were Feld, I wouldn't want to clip a race and be like, "You out of your freaking mind?" But one thing I think is happening, when we had the SMX playoffs start last year in North Carolina, in that press conference, Chase and Jet and I forget who else was up there. They kind of let everybody have it, and it's like, oh shit, okay, wow, I didn't expect that frank of an answer. But if you burn out, if the talent burns out, then you're not going to make any money. If Jet goes out again, if Chase goes out again, if something happens to, if you start thinning out the field, yeah, people are still going to show up, but the stands are going to be thinner, right? So if it were me, what I would do is, we know that during COVID, when they did the residency races, they were actually pretty popular because they're in a city. You're going to get people, hardcore fans, like, hell yeah, I'll go to Supercross race on a Wednesday night. So maybe the thought is to do like a residency at Anaheim. And what that would do is the guys don't have to travel, right? So they can come out, they can race on a Monday, have Tuesday off, race on Thursday or something, and then race on Saturday, and then go home. And then the next week do a normal round, and maybe if you did like a residency at Anaheim, and then you did a they want the crowd out in the East Coast. If you did a residency at the beginning of the season in Anaheim, everybody just comes out, hey, we're going to be in Southern California for a month, dude. We're just going to bang out 3 races at Anaheim, hit San Diego, dip out, right? And then do like a normal schedule around the country. And then when you get to Pittsburgh or Philly or Rutherford, pick one of those rounds, whoever historically has the best attendance, which honestly, I think probably Philly would be the round to do it. That one seems to get packed. Do a residency at Philly, because then you have 2 stops that take 6 races out, right? And it's 2 weeks that now take up 6 races. Then you can do some longer breaks in the season, instead of, like in Supercross there's a 1 week break and then a 1 week break. Now you could do a 2 week break and a 2 week break, or a 3 week break, and let these guys go rest. You're still going to get your TV package taken care of. You're still going to get your asses in the seats because they're in the city, and then the guys get a break. So if it were me, that's what I'd like to see happen if I owned the world.
Yeah, it's a good point there, mate. It's sort of those residencies could be a workaround to still get the racing in and still fulfill the schedule, And you imagine you pick the popular areas, the fans will come, won't they, mate? Because some of those races are sold out. So, and then you sort of leads you on to the next topic. And obviously, guys, they talk about having the rest, but then they go and race the off-season races like Paris Supercross. You got Australian Supercross, WSX. There's so many things like that. So it's a bit of a tough balance because it's money over health, isn't it, mate? And a lot of the time the money's the pick, isn't it? Because these careers aren't long in Supercross and motocross, so you just chase the money. So I guess you can't really win. It gives some balance to the discussion, but it's interesting though, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, I mean, if you, like I said, stack, even if you did 3 residencies, you did 9 rounds in 3 weeks, yeah, that's hard on the guys, but they're not traveling, right?
Mm.
They can go set up, they can get an Airbnb or whatever, and maybe after round XYZ ends, you go straight to where the residency is and set up and train there for the week, and so you're there for 10 days, and you really acclimate, and you're going to get a lot more rest than if you have to fly in on a Thursday or a Friday, do the race, fly out Sunday or fly out Saturday night. Yeah, I just think that was one way that they can rest the guys up.
I think the mechanics and the teams would be quite happy with that too, wouldn't they, mate?
Truck drivers would probably be the happiest
Yeah.
ones about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got a hotel on wheels right there at the track, dude.
Yeah, mate, well said. It's certainly a busy schedule, mate. But obviously, we'll get onto the 450s now quickly. Just your take on Jet Flex and the muscles. Again, obviously went down early, got the job done. But yeah, he certainly put on the lead there. Obviously, Hunter winning the first moto, super impressive. Hunter and Jet were just on another level, weren't they, mate? Really epic riding. They've just got the starts pretty well dialed and everything's looking pretty good. The bike, they're comfortable. Their riding style's dialed, so they held the pace really well, mate. So I guess you got to give credit where it's due. They were on fire, mate. And Hunter's still chasing that first overall 450 win. Do you think it comes soon, mate? Surely it's on the cards.
No, I don't. Chet's gonna Chet's gonna torment his older brother, dude. It's beginning to become elderly abuse. you know, he's just I think Hunter probably thinks about that moto meme about the pillow and smothering Jet from time to time, and I think it was right before Washougal that came out a couple years ago. So maybe it's time for him to get a pillow out, and maybe not smother him out all the way, but just maybe give him a little hypoxia or whatever that is. Just affect him a little bit for a round. Just enough to get the win or loosen back wheel or something, so it locks the chain up on the start, to cheat a little bit, have a little fun.
Oh, mate,
But
it's crazy. And there's
I don't know. I don't know how you beat that guy, dude. He's just unreal. At this point, I think you got to have the conversations that he's going to be the best there ever was if he stays healthy.
Yeah, it's pretty ominous, isn't it, mate? And I think, you hit Stu on the broadcast saying he was a lightning strike away from winning a few weeks ago, and he was pretty close this weekend again, mate. It's going to take something special, it seems, at this point, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's going to take Jet beating himself.
Yeah, well said, mate. It's just impressive riding. Obviously, to put 90 seconds on Tomac and 40 on Chase in motos is just impressive. So, bit of a weird one for Tomac that weekend, wasn't it, mate? Obviously, if he's not feeling comfortable, he can be prone to these sort of weekends. So, do you just put that off to one of those off strange weekends? Obviously, maybe the bike issue the weekend before sort of was playing on his mind. Obviously, he's changing teams. Do you sort of have any reasoning behind that performance, mate, or is he just focusing on Motocross Nations, SMX, getting through to that KTM deal, which looks like it's on the card? So interesting stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on in Tomac's mind, other than he's got to be frustrated. That guy wants to uh, be banging bars with Jet in every corner, So if he's not up there, that's eating him up. But what's going on? I have no clue.
Yeah, it's really strange, mate. Hopefully, he comes out swinging at Washougal and Chase. He's obviously still coming back a couple of races in. He said he just has to accept that it's going to take time to get back to that Lawrence brothers level. Obviously, he won outdoors last year, absolute machine. So he's obviously admitted he's not quite there yet, but he expects maybe after that break that he should be up there mixing it with him. Do you see that?
I don't know, man. I honestly don't. It's I yeah. You go give an opinion on something, then it just slaps you upside the head the next weekend. So I don't know. I don't put enough effort into that stuff to think some of that stuff through.
Yeah, it's interesting, mate. Obviously, moving on to Prado, you got a really good video of him after the race, mate. Another bit of a strange weekend for him as well. Obviously, got eaten up in that first moto by Basha, Gio, Lacurcio even got him. It would appear it wouldn't be a fitness issue, but he looks pretty deflated and a bit defeated at the moment, mate. Obviously, the second moto was much better, but it's a strange one. Hopefully, that Chad Reed influence, obviously, that's helping him and it should bear fruit. Yeah, it's definitely another bit of a head scratcher of a weekend for Prado, wasn't it, mate?
Yeah, I don't quite know what's going on there. I mean, I don't spend much time around the Kawasaki pits or know those guys very well, but um, from what I understand, Kawasaki is going to do what Kawasaki is going to do, and you're going to adapt, right? And so that's the only thing I can think of that's maybe um, not gelling well with Prado. But yeah, I mean, in that video, he said, "Man, I'm doing the best I can," So I don't know. Maybe the honeymoon's over. Who knows? Uh, who knows what'll happen, but it ain't good. He ain't happy.
Yeah, he definitely
Uh,
wants more.
yeah, I would love to see that guy up there. I mean, last weekend there was fleeting glimpses of greatness and what he can do, and even at Spring Creek, you were watching him. He almost looked like he was riding frustrated when after he came over the finish line and then another jump, and then there was that big peaked up roller where he went to the left. He was just over revving the bike. And you could tell he was frustrated as shit on the bike. So I don't know. Maybe he was trying to blow the thing up so he could be done with the race. Who knows? But hopefully something changes because that guy's so cool and could be so good over here for the sport. So I hope they figure that shit out pretty quick.
Yeah, mate, he's definite star. We want to see him back where he belongs for sure. And as we go down the list, mate, you mentioned RJ. You can have some words on him. Basha was looking pretty aggressive, mate. He put a pretty assertive move on Prado as well. Obviously, he's gone 9.75, so pretty impressive return from injury for Basha. Obviously, Gio's doing really well, eighth overall, battling with those guys. Basha, Shock, Tomac, Prado. So apparently, he wants to do SMX. Gio, he's got a bit of supercross skills, so that'd be cool, mate. So below those top guys, there's plenty of storylines, isn't there?
Yeah, RJ, he's killing it, dude. Man, when he's got the potential to be up there running podium speed and be up there with Jay Coop and those guys. No problem, no problem at all. RJ should be getting seconds and thirds. I think he's got what it takes to run with Hunter. Can he beat Jet? Yeah, I mean he's got the skills to do it any day of the week. Anyone on that track does. It's just Jet's just ridiculous, but. I really think RJ is going to hit an overall podium before the end of the summer. I just see that he just looks so good. And talking with Nate, Nate's just stoked on how RJ is riding and the whole team is. And then Bam Bam, yeah, it's cool to see him back. And I think Bam Bam's kind of in a good place. He's got Jack Richards working for him as a mechanic, and Jack's was Talon's mechanic for a couple years, and um, Jack's just a good guy, and yeah, he's a big dude, hilarious young kid, but he gets pretty fired up. So I bet he gets Bam fired up. I could see that dynamic working well together. But I think if you have a good mechanic and you're happy, and you're happy with your team, those guys are all pretty solid dudes. I think you'll do good things, and it's showing in his results.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Well said. And then obviously, lastly, before we start wrapping it up, Coroli, mate, obviously impressive. He pushed through in that first moto after falling over and burnt himself. Welton got the bike back off for him, mate. You got a cool bit of footage of that on your Whiskey Throttle socials, mate. So pretty impressive. 10th in the second moto, mate. He's such an elite operator at 39 to be doing what he's doing on a new bike. It's nothing short of impressive, mate. Your take on it?
Yeah, his raviolis were well done, dude. Just He's just lucky he landed face down and not face up, dude. Otherwise, Mr. Cairoli might be Mrs. Cairoli. That was a pretty bad burn, dude. Uh, he he's lucky Welton turned around. I mean, I don't know what Welton saw, but he must have been just frolicking on the ground, screaming enough to get a rider to turn around and pull that bike off you. But that was a bad burn, dude, and a little bit longer could have been really bad, dude. But I messaged him the other day. I'm like, dude, he goes, man, that hurt. It was so bad. But I just kept thinking, that's a long flight to Italy with your right ass cheek medium well. I mean, no, I was like, well, he's got the money to get a first class suite if he needs to. He doesn't have to sit for very long, but still, dude, that had to suck. But at least he went the McAdoo route and wasn't bashful. He rode around with his ass hanging out the rest of the moto and got her done. But just lucky he wasn't flipped around the other way.
Oh, mate, massively great effort, and obviously great to have him there for those couple of races. Hope we see him at some more in the future. You never know. He's mentioned he might want to rack up those points for SMX too, so that'd be another good bit of star power for that. And obviously, to wrap up, mate, Whiskey Throttle's got a live event happening at Washougal. You're going to Portland Raceway before that, mate, so you'll be there. Ping will be there. It should be a massive couple of days, mate. So tell the fans all about it and what the schedule's looking like, mate.
Yeah, we're gonna do some announcing Thursday afternoon. Well, I say we, Whiskey Throttle Ping. I'm not doing shit. We're gonna do some amateur announcing on Thursday, and then Friday, I talked to Rick Wilder. He runs PIR, which is the longest running night motocross race in the country. It's the 59th annual uh, pro race at Portland International. I mean, that's a long running race. It's a $15,000 pro purse. You get some pretty good names in there, and Grant Harlan has won it the last 2 years, but Grant's out with an owie, so he doesn't get to try to go for a three-peat. So I was with him last night. I went and had dinner with him in Mina, and he's pretty bummed out on that. But um, yeah, he would have done the three-peat, and I know Derek DeMartile is not going to be back in time to go to that. So we'll get a new winner for first time in 3 or 4 years, and the place is epic. If you're up anywhere near there or planning to travel and you can get up there before 6 o'clock on Thursday night, go to PIR. It is an absolute blast. The track's sick. There's some pretty big jumps, and it's just a cool vibe. It kind of reminds you of what a motocross race was back in the 90s or something. It's cool. So we're gonna do filming there, and I think Ping's gonna hop on the mic for a little bit with Rick and the guys, and then Friday I think we're going back to the track and doing some announcing. It's also a national holiday, aka my 49th birthday. So yeah, so spending my birthday at the racetrack won't be too bad. And then Saturday's the national, and then we got some golf tournament on Sunday. But Saturday night after the motos are done, if you guys are coming up, we're doing a live Whiskey Throttle show on the track right by the podium. And I think they're trying to do something for the fans, because that is the hardest track to get out of in the country. Maybe Unadilla is just as bad. It's just a 2-lane country road. You leave after the
first 250 or the first set of motos, and it'll take you an hour to get down the hill to where you can get on the highway. I mean, it's brutal to get out of there. So they're allowing camping for the first time on Saturday night to kind of alleviate some of the congestion, doing the show. They're doing a lot of good things up there. So it'll be a good weekend, but I guarantee you when I get home Sunday night, I'm going to collapse. I'm going to be beat. But
Oh,
it's
mate,
worth it. It's Washougal.
yeah, mate, happy birthday as well. Any other final thoughts before we wrap up, mate? It's going to be a big one for you and the Whiskey Throttle crew, and the racing should be excellent to sort of head into a little break after that. Probably well earned, mate. You blokes as well as the riders and the media. It's a lot of work, isn't it, mate, in those summer days?
Hell no! Monday morning, I'm flying back to Nevada, and I'm gonna be standing on my Forerunner and painting that thing. I got a week to get that thing done, dude. I'm not taking
Oh,
any
you're a
kind of break.
machine.
Yeah, I want to get my Forerunner done. So, yeah, that's gonna be my break, but it will be nice. I'm gonna take the wife on the next off weekend before we go back for what is it, Unadilla? Take her to do something nice. Got to go spoil the wifey. So that'll be nice to go spend a weekend at the beach with her.
Oh, awesome, mate. Thanks again for taking the time to join us on this one. That's been Jeff Beaver from Whiskey Throttle Media, talking all things Spring Creek from another amazing event. So, obviously, big shout out to the fans, big shout out to the sponsors, Fly Racing, Firepower, Dirt Store, and Fuchs-Sulkelin for all their incredible support. And obviously, cheers again, Jeff. Been a ripper chat, mate. All the best for what's going to be an absolutely massive weekend.
Yeah, buddy. Let's catch up on Sunday night next week.
No worries, mate. Have a good one.
All right, brother.